You're listening to Down the Wire Sports Talk. It is Friday, 9 a.m. My name is Tanner.
And I'm Richie. And we're going to hopefully start talking about some, there's a decently sized game coming up.
This is the Super Bowl edition of our show. We're going to dip right into it. This is a controversy-laden Super Bowl, tons of side stories. Guys like Marshawn Lynch is a side story, going to media day and saying, you know why I'm here.
Because we all know what's happened with him in the past with the media. So
he said that he responded to, you know why I'm here, to 15 questions. That was the second day of media. The first day of media, he said, I am here so I don't get fined. That's all he said. He walked out after 10 minutes. This guy doesn't like talking to the media, but interestingly enough, he likes talking to the media when he's getting paid. He got paid to do a Skittles commercial where he actually did get interviewed by Skittles employees, which was kind of an interesting thing. He gets paid to talk, and he won't talk if he's not getting paid. And he's there so he wouldn't get fined, but interestingly enough, he is going to get fined by the NFL. The NFL is debating whether to fine him or not because he was wearing a hat, which was actually his hat. It was his company's hat, and he was promoting his own brand, and that's against NFL policy, and that fine could go over $50,000 considering he did it both media days.
Yeah, I mean, Marshawn Lynch is the kind of guy that he doesn't want anything to do with the media. He made that very clear during his allegations that he's only here because he won't get fined, because that has happened in the past with him. I mean, I understand not wanting to, but you're paid millions of dollars a year. Like, sack up and just go answer some questions. It's not that hard. It's not going to kill you. So
funny thing is, he will get fined, though.
Exactly.
He's going to get fined. And I don't like him personally. I think on the field he's a beast, and that's why his name is Beast Mode. He had the incident in the NFC Championship game where he scored a touchdown, then he grabbed his junk, and he got fined considerably for that one.
Oh, yeah.
There's a bunch of people watching all over, and these are, there's kids watching, there's families watching, and that's something that doesn't belong on the football field, and that's what he did. He's an immature guy, great football player, hell of a football player, probably the best running back in football, but if he was on my team, I don't think he's worth it. Considering I think LeGarrette Blount's the closest thing in the league to Marshawn Lynch, as far as the way they're built, the way they run. I think I'd rather have LeGarrette Blount over Marshawn Lynch just for the way he interacts with people.
I mean, there's that, and it's also just those guys are the same in the sense that, a lot of defensive backs, what they're going to go to, like especially the big guys in the D-line and the guys that come back in the linebacker, is their whole thing is they just want to hit you with one big jolt, one big thump, and knock you down. The thing is with guys like Lynch and guys like Blount is they're so well built, they're so very balanced and strong on their feet, is that, yeah, you hit them and you may push them back, but they're going to keep their feet moving, and they're going to keep their balance, they're going to keep going forward. So you're going to have to thump them, hopefully hold them there for a little bit, and hope for one of you guys to get down there, because they're one of those guys that are very difficult to tackle by themselves, not only because of their size, because they have that size and also the combination of the quick feet to cut in and out, so you really never know what they're going to do, and that's what makes those guys great. That's what sets apart great running backs, aside from good running backs.
It's going to be a tough matchup this week. LeGarrette Blount thinks that he can run the ball through Seattle's defense. We'll see. Seattle doesn't match up well against Blount or Gronkowski because they're two big guys, and they don't really have too many big guys on their defensive line or defensively in the backfield. But they're a hard-hitting defense, and we know they can bring the pain. So it's going to be interesting to see how they do it. I don't see them having anyone to really guard Edelman or Amendola. So if you have Richard Sherman, well, Richard, who are you going to cover? Brandon LaFell?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's not going to really do much for us. Richard Sherman's not going to cover Edelman or Amendola, especially if they're running slants and if they're running inside the field. He's not going to be covering them. That's not what he does. You take away LaFell, all right, well, we weren't throwing him anyway.
Yeah, right. He's just one of those guys that's kind of added in there as an extra little option. So like one of those little thorns in your side, you're going to pull that trek out of the pony and random times just to kind of keep the defense on.
I don't think anyone's going to take away Gronkowski, honestly. I don't think
you can.
Try.
He's proven that however many corners have covered him, not even just in like the season, this playoff run as well, in his entire career, how many people have trouble not only stopping him from getting a pass, but taking him down after the pass. Like, think about it. Think about the last time you saw one man one-on-one tackle Gronkowski. I don't mean just push him out into the sidelines. I mean, how many times have you seen one man take down Gronkowski?
It'll be interesting to see what they do as far as coverage goes. I think both ways, as far as both defensive backfields go, they don't really have anybody that matches up necessarily well. Because if you have Darrelle Revis and you have Richard Sherman on the other side of the ball, they both are extremely good at what they do, arguably the best at their positions. But who do they really cover? I don't think there's a clear-cut guy to shut down. There's no star receiver and say, hey, lock him down, because both teams kind of have a bunch of good receivers. Not saying Edelman's not a star, he is, and Gronkowski's a star certainly, but that's not a guy Sherman's going to cover.
Yeah, he's a guy that's going to be running inside routes. Maybe on the rare occasion when he lines up out as a wide out, then you could see Sherman over on that side of the field, but I don't see Sherman coming into the middle of the field in order to take away Gronkowski.
No, it's just not going to happen.
It's not what he's shown to do. It's not what he's built to do either. He's a smaller guy. He's about 6 feet tall, but he's also one of those guys that have been noted to play bigger than he is, and that's mostly because of speed and just his pure skill at that position.
A couple other interesting notes. Remember early on in the year, I think we had a show right after it happened. LeGarrette Blount was cut from the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that was after he had pretty much not too many carries the first couple weeks in, and then he left the Steelers game early, showered, left the locker room, and then got cut. A bunch of people outside are saying the Patriots tampered with it, saying that they tampered to get LeGarrette Blount cut and then sign him after he hit waivers, and that doesn't make sense to me. I think that's the least of things we do. I think every team tampers. I think they probably told him when his contract was up last season, they said, look, LeGarrette, here's the money. We'd wish to give you more. Can't really afford to give you more right now. We'd really like to have you. And then he tested the market, and he saw that, he signed with the Steelers, got more money there, and then it didn't work out, and then he knew we wanted him back.
And that was after we had made some moves to clear up some roster space, to clear up some cap space as well.
That was the Logan Mankins trade that cleared up that space. So I don't think we tampered with it. I think every team kind of tampers in their own little way. I think LeGarrette Blount just had an understanding that we wanted him back, and that he no longer wanted to be a Pittsburgh Steelers. And I think he knew he's been a little weird about it as far as what the media goes. He's had this question thrown at him a couple times the past couple of days, and he's kind of just smiled when he kind of smiles and giggles when they ask him, hey, did the Patriots tamper at all, or was something like that? Did you have knowledge that the Patriots would offer you a contract if you were cut by the Steelers? And he kind of just giggled at the question, and that's kind of made it a little bit worse, not really answering the question directly.
No.
He's made us seem a little bit more guilty on that, so I think he probably needs to answer that question next time. But another interesting thing last night was Thursday night on Conan O'Brien's show on TBS. Rob Gronkowski and Marshawn Lynch played Mortal X Combat, the video game, together, and I thought that was pretty funny. I haven't checked it out yet, but it is on YouTube. That's something to check out, considering Marshawn Lynch is a guy who doesn't usually talk to the media, and Rob Gronkowski is the guy who talks too much to the media. So that'd probably be a pretty funny thing to watch.
Yeah, Marshawn Lynch, exactly. It's just something that, even just seeing those players interact with each other off the record outside the football field will be something within itself. But I don't know. It's just one of those things. Keep it going. Keep things interesting, because as many find out, these are the top two teams in the National Football League, and there's a reason why they're here. And arguably, they're two of the best defenses in the league as well. I mean, you see the lineup that the Seahawks have in their secondary, and then they're not even just a secondary in the defense as well, is although they may not put Marshawn Lynch on Rob Gronkowski, they do have
you mean Richard Sherman?
Richard Sherman. It's early in the morning. Give me a break.
It's all right.
We were just talking about him too. But no, they also would not put Marshawn Lynch on Rob Gronkowski for many reasons.
I'd like to see that. You might be able to tackle him.
That would be interesting.
So do you want to go to the Super Bowl, Richie? You want to know how much the tickets are going for right now?
About 3 times the worth of my car.
It's at 6:20 p.m. Thursday. There were 20 tickets available on StubHub, and those 20 tickets cost less than $10,000. Everything else was $10,000 and up. The cheapest
by less than $10,000, you mean like $9,000, right?
Yeah, essentially, the cheapest ticket sold for $9,205 yesterday. There's 20 tickets less than $10,000. The rest are $10,000 and up. And yeah, like you said, the cheapest ticket was actually only $9,000. So, that's expensive. It's on record as the most expensive Super Bowl so far. And those ticket prices, I see them going up and up. I know a couple. Was it 2 weeks ago when they actually got in the Patriots? I think they dropped like 4% in the price, and then Patriots fans started buying up. And I'm been hearing reports from the media out of Radio Row in Arizona, and they're saying that Patriots fans are outnumbered 10-1 by the 12th man. So you want to call it? That's what's happening right now. But I think the Patriots fans have all the money, so they'll go out and fly out there, and they're the ones not out there right now. But if you're in Arizona right now, definitely, don't start fights with Seahawks fans, but definitely don't let them walk easy, if you know what I mean.
No, yeah, just keep loud. Make sure you make Patriots Nation's presence be known. So whether or not we're outnumbered greatly or whatever it is. The Patriots know that we're there, that we're here cheering them on. So that's really what counts.
Another news, Tom Brady is getting over the flu. He's had the flu for the last 5 days, and he's getting over slowly but surely. His remedy has been garlic, according to Brady, and garlic and rest. And rest definitely the most important thing for Tom. Tom will be good to go for Super Bowl Sunday. He looked extremely well in practice the past 2 days, and he's actually looked perfect in practice. He has a chip on his shoulder. He knows that he's going to come out, and he's going to come out firing. If you remember the Cincinnati Bengals game, which was the turning point in the season for us, Tom Brady before the game was unsure, unsteady, and kind of nervous. That's the way he is right now. He's going to have to prove something in the Super Bowl, and he's going to come out and be the best quarterback in Super Bowl history on NFL Super Bowl Sunday this Sunday.
As if he already hasn't.
I think he's going to be perfect. I think he's going to be so much better than Russell Wilson that people are going to say, is Russell Wilson an NFL quarterback? I think that question it's just going to be such a, you're not going to look at those quarterbacks and say Russell Wilson was even close to Brady in that game.
The thing that's going to happen in this game is with these teams being so good defensively throughout the season, Seattle's always been known for their defense as of recent years anyway, that's going to be a big story of the game. So the defenses are going to be shut down, but it's going to be which offense is going to be able to crack the defense. And if you ask me, I believe if there is a quarterback out there, and if there is an offense out there that can crack the Seattle defense, it is most certainly Tom Brady's the top of that list. And whether or not Russell Wilson is going to have success against the Patriots defense, I think the biggest thing for them obviously is going to be stopping Marshawn Lynch, given the fact that we haven't always been the best rush defense team. However, I think they'll get the job done, but I think that's going to be where the biggest issues come for the Patriots defense.
Yeah, I'd like to see Big Vinny Wilfork put down Marshawn Lynch hard.
That would be fantastic.
Love to see that. And I'd love to see Russell Wilson get smacked down pretty hard, too. I don't know. I think the Seahawks team is overrated. I don't like Pete Carroll. I don't like him when he was here. I think he's overrated as a coach.
No one liked him when he was here.
I think he's overrated as a coach. He's a joke as a coach. I respect what he's done in Seattle, but as far as how he runs his team, I don't like it. I like Bill's.
It's the exact polar opposite of the way Bill Belichick runs his team.
It definitely is, and I think he's been blessed with the team that he has. I think Russell Wilson's extremely overrated. I think Marshawn Lynch, as good as he is, may be overrated. As good as he is, I think he may not be as good as we think he is.
He's definitely, without a question, he's one of the better backs in the game. I mean, the only thing is, like, a lot of that is also attributed to team success as well. Like, had the team not been doing what it's doing, had he been on a not as great team, he probably wouldn't be touted as great as he is. So I think you're right in saying that. And Russell Wilson, most certainly. I mean, he's a very good quarterback when he's scrambled. He's got a very good mind. He's got a very good at decision making. It's just I don't think he's not the best reading defenses. He's kind of one of those quarterbacks that goes on the fly, that goes as things come at him. He's not a guy like Tom Brady who's going to stand up, and if you're the defense, you forget what you're doing. Just listen to Tom Brady. He's going to tell you. And
it'll be interesting to see what happens. I think the one person who's rated very well on that team is Richard Sherman. I think he is the best cornerback in football. He leads the league in interceptions the past 3 years running. So it'll be a fun game to watch. Probably a close game. I think the Patriots will actually win this game by 4 points. And if not, they're going to win by a blowout. I don't see them losing this game just because they're playing with anger, they're playing with passion, and they just have so much to play for at this point. This is where you pick out if you're a dynasty or not. You have 3 Super Bowls, you have 6 Super Bowl appearances in 14 years, and they need this 4th one, because when you get this 4th one, historically, when you get the 4th one, this is what makes your dynasty. The 4th one is what puts you over. This is the one that puts you into the top. This puts you up there with the 49ers in the 80s. This puts you up. This beats you. This is better than the Cowboys when they were in their heyday. This is the one that you need as a player, as a quarterback, as a coach, as a team, as an organization. You need this. And who cares what they're going to say on Monday? If they say, oh, we tampered with something, guess what? Who cares?
We won the Super Bowl.
We won the Super Bowl. You didn't.
They just need to go out there, do their job. And the thing about this team that I've noticed is different previous years is they're coming more together as a team. The group is very much together. It's been a little bit solidified.
It's them against the world.
Exactly. You saw a lot of guys coming in and coming out, and a lot of different characters were brought in this offseason, and they've just really meshed well together. They've formed an identity, and they've been playing not only for the fans, but they've been playing for each other as well. And I think that's the biggest difference in this team is how they've come together as an entire unit.
This reminds me of the 2013 Boston Red Sox, where an event put this team together, and this team just bonded as a team. And that's what the New England Patriots are doing. They are one unit right now, and they definitely have the passion to win. And I think they're going to win because guess what? People have been knocking them all week, and now they have something to prove. Yeah. This team has a passion. They're going to come out. They're going to be pissed, and they're going to hit hard, and they're going to score early, and they're going to make everyone in that stadium shut up, and the Seahawks are going to be stunned, and they're not going to be able to recover.
The thing is that they also, I feel, there's more of a sense of entitlement in the Seattle Seahawks than there is in the Patriots. The Seattle Seahawks had been expecting to make it to this point for a long time. I mean, obviously, people have been saying since early in the season that they're going to be one of the favorites to go into the Super Bowl from the NFC. And that you don't really see that with the Patriots. I mean, as earlier in the dynasty, if you so call it, then yeah, the Patriots kind of had that sense of entitlement. They're one of the elite teams in football, which they have been as well. But they've had to keep reproving themselves and keep doing the things they were doing and fight against the constant battles that somehow keep coming up. People keep finding stuff to knock against the Patriots. I mean, obviously the Deflategate, which we tackled last show, and now the whole fire alarm, the other different tampering with LeGarrette Blount, you name it, people are going to accuse us of it. So I feel like there's no sense of entitlement here in the team, and that's a huge advantage for the Patriots as far as where their head is when they get onto that field in Arizona.
We'll go on a break right now. On the other side of the break, we are going to talk a little bit more Deflategate, some more information that's coming out. We're also going to talk about Pete Carroll and the NFL not being on the same subject, and some Bruins and Red Sox talk also.
Welcome to Boston.
Turn me up in the headphones. Make sure Dorchester, Mattapan, Roxbury can hear me. Back Bay, Southie. Said forget about a hater. They ain't saying nothing. Got money all around me. We ain't ballin' on a budget. Girls trying to distract, but I'm staying on the subject and I'm saying what I want. But I bet my city love it. I say yeah, I rep Boston. That's for those people asking. A bullet to the heart. Yeah, that's for those people ratting. They ain't trying to see the grave, so these boys are out here clapping. Look my team up in the eye. Told them I'm gon' make it happen. Just trying to chase a dream. Like tell me, can you blame it? Got kicked up out of schools, had my mother going crazy, but your boy know the game, so please don't try to play me, and I gotta go hard. Why? That's how the city raised me. I said I rep stalking. Okay, that's word to NASA. I step up on the scene, you know, lights, camera, action. Okay, here we go. You have now tuned into Mighty Mouthy, Boston's miracle. 617 engraved in my soul, ain't that so spiritual? Right under the city, like you don't know, then forget it. I traveled all around the world, but Boston got my pivot, so I ride. I know they try to put you on, but they all lie. But I got pride, so until time is Massachusetts till I die. Throw my threes, did that from the beginning. I walk up in this game like the realest player in it. I do it for my city, Boston. I do it for my city, Boston. Where the good die young and hard work make it. I gotta put a song, cause my people tired of waiting. I do it for my city, Boston. I do it for my city, Boston. Put a hand to the sky if you love city living. Say welcome to the bean where we party and keep winning. You ain't got no sense of pride. We don't want you on the side where the truth comes to the light. So you cannot tell us lies. Oh my God, oh my God. My city is the greatest. From Fenway back to Mattapan, I swear I wouldn't change it. But be careful where you go because these kids are out here banging Roxbury, Roxbury. Swear I'ma make you famous from the bottom of my soul. Boston, I thank you. The memories were great, but to be honest, some were painful. I swear there were nights where I just didn't understand you. You took some of my friends, and I'm thinking, how can you? But the truth is that you raised me. Yeah, you really raised me. The hard times didn't break us, so it's safe to say it made me. I look upon my past, think of all the streets I ran. Dudley Street, Warren Street, Blue Hill, back to Mattapan. Understand that I died for that green and white, died for that black and gold. Rocking with the Patriots way before they won the Super Bowl. Let me tell you, cause you don't know. Lost some games, so I can't sleep. Aaron Boone hit that home run. I ain't eat for about a week. Now listen, it's no cliche, but I feel that the time is right to see a Boston kid make a damn. Gonna be such a sight. I say these words with all my might. I throw my threes and hold them tight. That you gon' see and we gon' see when you look up that these are Boston lights. Did that from the beginning. I walk up in this game like the realest player in it. I do it for my city, Boston. I do it for my city, Boston. Where the good die young and hard work make it. I gotta put a song, cause my people tired of waiting. I do it for my city, Boston. I do it for my city, Boston. It's been a long time coming, but we here. What up to Hyde Park, Jamaica Plan? Greater Boston, Massachusetts, New England, what up? We riding. Let the country know. I rep that gang.
All right. Hey, everyone, shut up. All right. Now, first off, let's all not pretend to be so surprised and shocked that this is happening. Yous all know the script by now. Pats kick ass all season. Pats go to a Super Bowl in Arizona. Pats get accused of some cheaty garbage. Everyone in America roots against the Pats. Belichick, Spygate, Deflategate, blah, blah, blah. Deflate my tip. Give me a break. I'm sure that a deflated football is the reason why LeGarrette Blount was able to run through the Colts defense in the AFC Championship like a hot knife through a froyo. Watching the Pats have their way with the Colts was like watching my fat sister get after a pepperoni pizza after she gets dumped. Which happens a lot, because she's a f***ing nightmare. 11 of 12 footballs were deflated. Oh no. You know what's not deflated? My love of the friggin' Pats. You hate us 'cause you ain't us. Oh, and as far as giving you all something to talk about during the 2-week stretch between Championship Sunday and the Super Bowl, you're welcome.
Fitzy, given that the Patriots are caught bending the rules years ago with Spygate, do you think they'd really be brazen enough to try something like that again?
Hey, we got caught with our dick in the cookie jar back in 2007 with Spygate, and we haven't had to stop hearing about it since then. Oh, and what have the Pats done since then? I don't know, maybe win more games than anyone else in football? We've been to 6 Super Bowls. The second closest team has been to 3, which means that's double. Nerds.
Come on, Fitzy. No one's going to give the Patriots the benefit of the doubt. How are you going to handle all the scrutiny?
You know, the usual. We ignore the noise. You embrace the hate. It's the coal that fires our engine. That and beer, calzones, revenge porn. Okay, Groupon School of Journalism, you got one more.
Fitzy, at a time when you should be celebrating another Patriots Super Bowl appearance, does this latest issue take a little bit of the air out of it?
Does it take a little bit of the air out of it? Oh, I see what you did there. Really, Mark? I was cool with you getting my sister pregnant. But this? Insulting the Patriots? How dare you? Don't you understand what this means to us? This is Tommy and Bill going to get their 4th. The one to shut them all up. This is more important than all the hot dogs and nachos in the world. This is more important than discovering that there's a f***ing bat cave in the basement of my house. This is more important than it raining boobs outside. So no, our balls are not deflated. They're as full as they've ever been. Swollen with pride. So go ahead, talk all you want about our balls. Weigh them, touch them, inspect them, suck them. Just know that nothing you say could ever take the air of joy out of our balls. All right, I got to go home and stroke my Arizona boner some more. But if you guys really want to know how we got the air out of those 11 balls, I'll show you.
We smoked them, just like we did the Colts. Go f*** yourselves. Let's go, Pats!
That was from stuff Pats fans say on YouTube from SB Nation. That was pretty funny. That was what every Patriots fans are thinking about Deflategate, and I thought it was really funny. I know we're laughing here in the studio.
It's very funny. It's also, the thing is, it's also very true. He encaptured. I loved it when he was saying, "We taken the hate, we taken that anger, and that's the coal that burns our fire."
They hate us because they ain't us.
They hate us because they ain't us. That is true, and it's just something that I don't think that everyone else has realized has fueled the Patriots. Like, the more you hate us, the more that they're gonna take that as fire against, shoot it right back, use that as anger, get at them.
The Patriots have always been the most hated team in football, as far as I know.
New England sports have always been the most hated team in any sport.
Like, I feel like the Bruins are extremely hated around the league.
They are. They actually polled around the world. The Bruins are by far the most hated team in the world.
The Red Sox, I feel like the Red Sox are probably one of the more neutral teams.
That's
depending where you go.
History too.
Yeah.
But granted, there's still a lot of teams that just associate them with being part of New England sports, and therefore,
the Celtics might be the most liked Boston sports franchise in the world. I think they are. They lead. They have the most championships.
New England Revolution.
Yeah, the Revolution. Everyone's like, "What's the Revolution? Is that a lacrosse team?" No, it's a soccer team.
Time ago.
Yeah, the people hate us because they ain't us, and that's really what it is. You take in the hate, we fuel it, we put it in our truck, and we drive down to where we got to go win a championship. So the NFL referees had a little interview yesterday, a little press conference, and the head of the NFL referees was there, and also the referees who are going to be refereeing the Super Bowl. And the same referee that was in the Baltimore Ravens game, who had who designated the ineligible receiver, which was Shane Vereen. That was so he was under the impression that the NFL and himself would be delegating who the ineligible receiver is. And they do that by yelling out the player jersey, all right, number 34, which is Shane Vereen. He's ineligible. And that's what they'd say, so the defense would know who's the ineligible receiver, so they don't have to cover him. And essentially, he becomes the fifth lineman. So he was under the impression that he would be doing that in the Super Bowl. So Pete Carroll, early in their day, this is before this press conference, was also under the impression that he was told that the NFL would actually be doing a little bit differently, and that they would totally identify who the ineligible receiver would be. And so when the referee said this at the press conference, people were like, all right, he's just reiterating what Pete Carroll said earlier. But the head of NFL referees, which is, I believe his name is Dean Blandino, and he said that they won't be actually identifying the eligible receiver at the Super Bowl. And it was pretty funny because the referee, who's actually going to be the head referee in the Super Bowl, said, wait, we're not doing that? And it was a really weird moment because it looks like the NFL wasn't really communicating, and it kind of puts Pete Carroll in a weird situation where, where'd you hear this? And he probably heard it from the referee, and the head of the NFL referees probably, they must have changed the rule or something, but they must identify. It's in the rule book that they have to identify the ineligible receiver because the defense wouldn't know who they're supposed to cover. Who do we cover? Do we cover Vereen? Well, Vereen's ineligible. They're not going to throw him the ball. So they have to identify. I just thought it was kind of weird that they're not on the same page. Blandino also had a couple comments about Deflategate, unfortunately. The NFL said the NFL referees check the PSIs prior to the game, but the way it works is it's a pass or fail system. They don't actually necessarily check it. They kind of just feel the ball, and if they feel it's good, they toss it in the good pile. Feel it's bad, throw it to the left, and they put some PSI in it. That's the way they do it. They don't actually log it down. They either approve or disapprove them. Blandino said, we did review what happened pregame, and from everything we reviewed and all the information we had, the balls were properly tested prior to the game. Okay, well, do you have any logs of this? No, they don't. They don't have any logs of properly testing the balls before the game. They do not have PSI logs. Why? I don't know. I don't know why they don't do the simplest thing that would negate any kind of thing, because you can't really say, all right, this is what the PSI was at halftime. All right, what do we compare it to? Well, we don't have anything to compare it to. So how do we know they were actually properly inflated at the beginning of the game? Well, we don't know that. How do we know that? We don't. Another thing that he said, people said it was a sting operation on the Patriots. Blandino confirmed that it wasn't a sting operation. Well, of course, the guy who works for the NFL is going to say it's not a sting operation. All right, let's believe him. But he said that there was an issue at half that was brought up in the first half. A football came in the question, then decision was made to test him at halftime. There's an investigation going on. I can't get too much specifics of it, but really that's a chain of event that occurred. Okay, yeah, I believe you. Not really. But I don't think you can really say the Patriots did anything wrong because you don't have any information to what the PSI was prior to the game. Unfortunately, in the NFL, you cannot sue the league. So say the ruling came in favor of the Colts and that the Patriots were found to cheat. The Patriots can't fight that decision in court because they signed a CBA, which negates them from suing the league. So the Patriots would have justifiable cause in court to go against the league, because the league doesn't have any evidence of anything, because guess what? They can't check the PSI. The only way the league's going to have anything is if someone comes out and admits to doing something wrong. And there's the ball boy in question. He was seen going into the the guy who brought it from the NFL referees the umpire's locker room, and he was supposed to bring it to the field. He brought the bag into a bathroom for 90 seconds, locked the door, came out after 90 seconds, and went to the field. There's been on TV, the media's taking this crazy. They've actually been testing it, and I don't think personally you can do it in 90 seconds. That's a tight window.
No, that could have just very easily have been just him, doing what normal people do.
Want to know what takes 90 seconds in the bathroom? Going in there, doing your business, washing your hands, drying your hands, walking out.
Deflating 11 out of 12 footballs.
The
whole thing is just, I don't know. I'm sick and tired of hearing about it. I know a lot of people are. I mean, what happened, whether or not it was intentional or not. But you can't, even if it did happen, you can't exactly like this whole thing with the locker room boy. Doesn't exactly mean you can't just pin it directly on the Patriots. You can't say, oh, it was Tom Brady. Oh, Bill Belichick.
I think everyone does it.
You can't just, I know they're the faces out there and they're the team that beneficiaries of that game, but it's been said, and I'll say it again, they didn't win because the footballs were partially deflated. They didn't stomp the Colts because LeGarrette Blount had a slightly better grip on the football. I mean, he didn't run through tackles. He may have held him hold on to the ball, but did not get him the insane.
Let's also be said that LeGarrette Blount does not have a fumble in his Patriots career.
Yeah.
So
he's exactly. He's not a guy known exactly for that either.
He fumbles outside of the team, but not when he's on the team.
Because you know what happened, i.e. Stephen Ridley, when you do fumble the football in the Patriots.
You fumble the football, you go to the doghouse. But it's interesting. I think every team actually does something to the ball. They doctored the balls. Every team. A couple former NFL quarterbacks come out and said that everyone does it. And Mark Brunell on ESPN was crying that he didn't believe Brady. Well, you know what, buddy? You probably did it yourself. And if you didn't, that's probably why you weren't a very good quarterback overall.
Yeah, looks like we have a special guest in the studio.
Yeah, my beard's getting rubbed. My playoff beard.
It's a remnant for good luck.
Do you have a playoff beard?
Yeah, it's a playoff beard.
Okay, well, you just have a
my beard's been here for a long time.
I know.
So the NFL also decided that there wouldn't be any interviews with the players on Deflategate. That was per the NFLPA. They said that the NFL players would not be interviewed during the season until after the Super Bowl, and then the players would be interviewed after the Super Bowl. So for those wondering why Tom Brady hasn't been interviewed yet and why he didn't interview the quarterbacks, it's because the NFLPA has not allowed the NFL to actually interview the quarterback yet, because they're waiting until after the Super Bowl, so the distraction will continue until after the Super Bowl. I do agree with this. I think you need to let the players get ready for the Super Bowl and not have to worry about this until after. I just think every team does it. I really do. As I was saying, Mark Brunell, he cried on, I don't know if you saw that, he cried on SportsCenter after Tom Brady had his press conference on Saturday. Was it Thursday? Oh, last Thursday or Friday. And he was crying. You see that, Richie?
I did.
And I was like, buddy, if you weren't doing it in your career, you weren't that good in your career. Yeah, that's exactly. Probably why. Doctoring the footballs is done by every quarterback. There's a method. Is the Patriots deflate the football? I don't know. I have no clue. If they did, wouldn't surprise me. If they didn't, wouldn't surprise me either way. I do believe that what Bill Belichick said, and that the Patriots do have a method. They do rub the balls to get it to the way Tom Brady likes his balls. I think the media said balls too much. We talk about balls too much right now.
This whole thing is people just like talking about balls, but that's
I think people like talking about balls, but we're not gonna get into the psychiatrists.
They're obsessed with our balls. What can we say? Can't resist them.
I think that every quarterback does like their football a certain way. Aaron Rodgers likes his overinflated. Tom Brady likes him on the lower side. Andrew Luck likes him on the lower side also. Tom Brady likes his football a little bit worn in, a little bit more worn in than other quarterbacks may necessarily like him. And you know what? I think that's just the way it is. I think it's tough to regulate it. I think you need to start making PSI logs, though. I think that might be a little bit important.
Yeah, it might help with the whole, investigation, whatever.
But it may help with your credibility, but
they really do.
We're going to move on, and after the break, we're going to talk about your Boston Bruins, who have their first game back last night after the NHL All-Star break.
Super Bowl bound. The grinding starts in the springtime, and they don't take a day off to the bye week in the season. I'm first round of the playoffs. AFC East champs, 12th and 15th seasons. Best team in the league. There's plenty of reasons. Koeman, Amendola, Vereen, and Edelman. Brandon LaFell been clutch ever since he settled in. Protection up front, stout, resilient, and solid. Seabass and Bulmer, Stork fresh out of college. Division round, down 14 twice, got it back. Gronk attack, unslaughtered Tommy in the picture perfect pocket pass. Vince is a stonewall. Collins has been balling. Revis Island's a no-go. High tower play calling. Special teams is clutch, coming up with the pump blocks. Front seven is nasty, step it up on the wrong block. Super Bowl is about to be a battle. We don't need no cheat code for beast mode. We're beating Seattle. Let's go.
Till the lights go out, till my legs give out, can't shut my mouth.
No deflate gate will stop us when number 12 is dropping back. Best organization in football, Mr. Robert Kraft. Only one goal, not trying to make it again and then fail. This time, we're raising a trophy out in Glendale. The nation, number 12, going for number 4. LeGarrette will run the ball. Pete Carroll will come to punish y'all. Predicted like I had a magic ball. Sherman won a Jabberjaw. Hey Browner, I think he took an Adderall. It's an exciting matchup, best I've seen in my life. It all comes down to Sunday and the gleam of the lights. A northeastern clipper headed to Arizona. Storms are coming, I just figured I should warn you about that sack whooping coming from this Pats team. Bloodbath Seattle, asking to be woken from the bad dream. Russell Wilson will be crying again like a tipsy girl. As for the Patriots, we're going to Disney
Till
World.
the moon comes up, till the lights go out, till my legs give out, can't shut my mouth, till the smoke
Super Bowl 49.
I'ma rip this shit till my bone color.
New England Patriots.
Till the lights go out, till
Let's
my
go.
legs give out, can't shut my mouth,
Let's
till the
go.
smoke is out, and my high. I'ma rip this shit till my bone color.
Sup, Zo? Sup, Gresh? You guys getting fired up? How you doing, Bob? How you doing? Chowder. Make it straight.
You're back with Down the Wire Sports Talk, and we're going to talk some NHL Bruins. Richie has last night's game.
Yeah, last night, Bruins, a little bit of an extended All-Star break. I mean, a lot of teams got back to work on around Tuesday, Wednesday. The Bruins had their first game here on Thursday. They went to the Nassau Coliseum on Long Island to play their last game there forever, because as you guys know, the Islanders next season will become the Brooklyn Islanders.
They'll be playing at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York.
They will be. But they ended up winning 5-2, I believe was the score last night. I don't know, my internet's being weird.
Yeah, it was 5-2 last night. The Bruins got off pretty quick with Riley Smith assisted by Milan Lucic and David Krejci in the first. That put the Bruins up 1-0. 16:09 in the first. Patrice Bergeron put a power play goal assisted by Dougie Hamilton and Riley Smith. Bruins up 2-0. The second period was a little bit different. Jonathan Tavares put in a goal to make it 2-1. Michael Krabner assisted by Jonathan Tavares and Johnny Boychuk. That was Boychuk's 100th career point on that assist. It was tied 2-2. Kevin Miller late in the second period with about 30 seconds to go put the Bruins up 3-2. Third period comes up. All Bruins. Torrey Krug scored early, assisted by Riley Smith and Milan Lucic. Bruins were up 4-2 at that point. And then an empty netter for Milan Lucic, and that put the Bruins up 5-2, and that was the end for that game.
The story of the whole game was it was a good effort by the Bruins. I mean, they definitely came out and started the game the way they wanted to. They got a goal from someone who hadn't gotten one in the entire month, from Riley Smith. They didn't start the game like this, but Claude Julien ended up eventually rotating Riley Smith to play alongside Lucic and Krejci, and immediately paid dividends for him. He started skating really well, woke him up. It got the other two going as well. You had Louis Eriksson skating with Bergeron and Marchand. That woke that. It was a new look, because what was happening was originally with Pasternak up on the first line with Krejci and Lucic, they were matching. New York was matching the John Tavares line with that, and that was just not a fair matchup overall. Where they were exposing the 18-year-old and his lack of his obvious needs to develop defensively. So he ended up knocked down. He got very minimal ice time. I mean, he was playing well when he was playing, but honestly, just with a team as fast, with a team as skilled as the New York Islanders in their offense, they was just unable to. It was just a little much for the rookie. So they bumped that off, but it ended up paying out anyway. I mean, Kevin Miller, with literally 3.5 seconds left to go in the second period, he recognized that Yaroslav Halak was out of his net. He was playing the puck. It was not a good play at all by Yaroslav Halak. Just dumped it up the boards where he could have just dropped it to Leddy, who could have tied it up and ended the period. He realized it wasn't set, just put it right. He just said it just now. It's like, I just figured why not put it on goal. There's a little time left, and it paid off. Never bad play to put it on net, and showed in that play as well.
There was an interesting goaltending situation, because last night playing out of position was actually a trend in the game for both sides. Tuukka Rask played out of position a couple times, didn't really come back to bite him, but it was definitely noticeable last night. Zdeno Chara had a weird night. The Bruins defense didn't play that well. Zdeno Chara actually, I credit him to that the second
Michael Grabner
Islander goal where he was
last by Boychuk that was redirected by Michael Grabner.
Yeah, and it was all on Jonathan Tavares. Jonathan Tavares had a really good night last night. He had the first goal, which he made a nice move, and defensively you couldn't really stop it. But that second goal was on Chara. Chara kind of mishandled the puck a little bit, and Tavares took the puck, passed it out to Boychuk. Boychuk put the bomb, was redirected in, and that one was on Chara. The defense wasn't too good, but last night was a story of 2 U's, 2 K's, Tuukka Rask. Tuukka Rask had 45 shots, 43 saves, and that was a pretty good game for Tuukka Rask. He did have that stick save, which was pretty nice.
He stood on his head, and had it not been for Tuukka Rask, the Bruins had no... Well, they played well throughout the first period, I should say that. But coming into the second period, the Bruins were not where they needed to be. They came out very flat-footed. The skill and the high speed that's always been around the New York Islanders system was showing. Their defense was on point, which is something that team's been missing.
They have a very good defense, that defense. Johnny Boychuk, Nick Leddy.
Yeah, and that defense was non-existent until this season. And just was making Yaroslav Halak, who just came in last season, look really good. I mean, he's coming off the performance of the All-Star game as well. But Tuukka Rask dealing the show with a .956 save percentage. I mean, countless save after save after save. He had that one paddle save on Michael Grabner, who had to make sure it didn't go in after it. The entire Nassau Coliseum was jumping up and down, screaming just to see the ref wave at his arms. No goal, no goal. I mean, everyone was thinking it was a goal. And that happened a couple times. He robbed Kulemin on a glove save as well. Just wide open net, just came out of nowhere.
He played where he needs to play, but he should have never faced 45 shots.
He shouldn't have had to play like that. I mean, it's obviously good for a team when your goaltender can do that, because that's part of being a team effort and winning as a team. But the defense does need to be tighter. I mean, I think the defense was a little scrambled. I mean, and that comes with the speed and skill of the New York Islanders and how fast they can move themselves and how fast they can move the puck. But that's something that you're going to have to get back to. I mean, they handled that very well. You saw them handle it very well against Colorado the game before they break. But I think the break's shaken off for us, but they cannot let that happen again.
They got a tough schedule coming up. They have the LA Kings on Saturday next week. They go back to New York to play the Rangers. Then they come back up to play the Islanders. And then in a couple weeks, they do play the Montreal Canadiens on, I think, a Sunday night. I want to say 7 o'clock Sunday night game. And they got a tough 2 to 3 weeks here for the NHL Bruins. But this is definitely a test for them, and this is where they can show whether they'll make it in the playoffs or not. Just through these games, they're playing a lot of tough teams, and they're going to have to see how they match up against them. And this is definitely going to be a good stretch for us to see how we are going to play. We do have some Red Sox news. The Red Sox actually had a couple of attendees showing up early. Jackie Bradley Jr., I know, is already down in Florida getting ready for spring training. Spring training is only a couple weeks away. Pitchers and catchers are about 2.5 weeks away from reporting. The Red Sox did trade right-handed pitcher Anthony Renato, a guy I liked a lot, for a reliever, left-handed pitching Robbie Ross. They traded him to Texas. Anthony Renato, I liked Renato. He's a pretty good starter, but he gave up a bunch of home runs last season. When he did appear, I thought he was going to be good. I liked him, but the Red Sox still have Stephen Wright, Henry Owens, and a bunch of other good pitching prospects down in Pawtucket and in the lower level. So the Red Sox needed a left-handed reliever, and that's why they did make the trade, even though the trade might not be the greatest trade in the world. I did like Renato. Texas likes Renato a lot because they actually did draft him out of high school, and then he ended up not signing with that team. I think I was in the 2007 draft. But Red Sox needed a left-handed pitcher, and they didn't want to have just Drake Britton or Tommy Lane be that pitcher, so they traded Anthony Renato. And Renato didn't really have a clear-cut spot with this team anyway. It'll be interesting to see. Yesterday they did end up signing Daniel Nava from arbitration, and they signed him to a 1-year, like a $1.5 million deal or something like that.
Just something to keep him on the roster.
Yeah, he's fighting for a spot again, and he deserves to be an everyday player. And I don't like him having to fight for a spot on this team.
That's a problem, but it's a good problem also because him having to fight for a spot comes from the immense depth that this team has built up in the outfield.
Yes, it shows wonders.
Because he's a very versatile player. He's a guy that you've seen come in at the infield for a couple games. Predominantly as an outfielder. And he's a guy that, with the guys on the roster right now, I can see him not being a full-time outfielder. But then that also gives you, where do you put him? Because you can't third base. Obviously, we got Pablo Sandoval now. I mean, you can have him play the corner at first occasionally, but it's still not his best position.
So what they're saying is, well, this is what they have. They have Mookie Betts. You have Rizne Castillo. You have Daniel Nava. You have Alan Craig. You have Shane Victorino. You have Hanley Ramirez, who's going to play outfield. You have Jackie Bradley Jr. still. Jackie Bradley Jr. is very good defensively. They did sign they have a bunch of players to play the outfield, and they didn't really trade anybody away from the outfield except Eunice Cespedes.
Jonas.
And they said Alan Craig could potentially play some third base, but as we know, Sandoval's there. Xander's your shortstop. Pedroia second base. Pedroia is jacked, by the way. First base is Mike Napoli. Mike Napoli is coming off a no surgery because he had sleep apnea, and he's
screwed him up for a
it
little
almost
bit.
ended his career.
It was very apparent last season.
So you might see Alan Craig and Daniel Nava play some plays at first base, but guess what? We left someone out. Want to know who we're left out? Brock Holt. Where does Brock Holt fit in? He's going to be fitting in pretty much everywhere. Is he going to play every day? I don't know. Is Rizne Castillo going to step up to the plate? Who's going to know? There's a lot of question marks on this team. We have tons of depth, and we'll see what happens. But it's a shame that guys like Shane Victorino and Daniel Nava won't have a spot on this team, even though I think they can be highly productive.
No, and that's the thing. Is I feel that we've had ever since last season when John Farrell came in, he's been poised with all these different problems. So you have a lot of players that can play a lot of different positions. Now, what's the best combination that's going to work? And you saw him bring that together in the 2013 season. You saw him a little bit last season as well. He's very good at using his pieces, utilizing where they're going to fit best. He knows who he can put when. He's got a lot of guys on this roster that are willing to do whatever it takes to make this team win. There's not a lot of guys that are going to be stubborn on this team and say, "Oh, I'm only playing this position." He's going to have a lot of availability to players, and I feel like he's the kind of coach that can get the best out of them as well. I mean, you also some other news coming out of the Red Sox system as well. I actually saw this last night, is that Blake Swihart, catcher in the system right now, was the number one catching prospect.
Yep.
And that's by the MLB, so that's legit too. So
he was
a little bit something coming up, but
he's an interesting guy who actually got called up last year to the Paw Sox, mainly because Henry Owens, who is a stud, who I've seen pitch firsthand, is really, really good. So they called him up to the Paw Sox last season, and Blake Swihart and Henry Owens played together, and Henry Owens kind of struggled a little bit, and he's young, so he's gonna have time to develop down there. But Blake actually excelled in AAA, and he's gonna start off the year in AAA. Christian Vasquez is your number one catcher going forward, but in the future, I would not be shocked to see Blake Swihart come up here and play in Major League level. But we haven't had too good of luck with our catching prospects. Ryan LaVarnway was that stud who is no longer here. He
got dropped on waivers.
And he's now in Chicago. He's in Chicago now, playing for Theo Epstein's club. But it'll be an interesting thing to see. Next couple weeks will be really interesting in Boston sports. You'll see the Boston Bruins play some very tough competition. You'll see Super Bowl loss or Super Bowl win coming up within the next week. You'll see the Boston Red Sox report the spring training, and you'll see the Boston Celtics coming fresh off their West Coast swing, where they actually did extremely well as far as a team goes on the road. They did better than the past couple of years, so pretty good for Boston sports. My name's Tanner, that's Richie, and thank you for tuning in, and tune in next week.
And go Pats.
Sir.